One of the problems that any meeting has is keeping people awake. We know every single day people come to work tired and fatigued. They stayed up too late watching something on TV, went someplace, visited with friends, went out to a bar or a restaurant, and didn't get to bed early enough to be wide awake and alert the entire day. That's a safety issue if somebody's doing something during the day where their alertness is critical, but a lot of times for people when they go to a meeting, they don't perceive it as a safety hazard, but it is if you're teaching them information that could get them home safely every single day and allow them to work safely and be safe on and off the job. So how do you keep people alert during the course of a meeting? Well, there's a lot of different techniques you can use, but I'll tell you some things that the mistakes people make. One of the most common mistakes I see people make these days is they're having a PowerPoint presentation as part of their talk. It illustrates certain points, maybe it has an illustration they want them to see. All valuable tools, but when used improperly can be a problem. Some people have projectors that don't have a bright enough light on them, so in order for audience members to see it, they do what? They dim the lights. I have studied audiences. I sit in the front of the room at the corner looking at the audience and the speaker out of the corner of my eye. And I've actually watched the audience as they dim the lights. I've physically watched people shift. The next time you're in that situation, watch people from when the lights are on to when they're turned off. You'll see them physically shift in their physiology and change the state they're in. I used to do magic in restaurants long before I became a speaking professional. And when I was doing magic in restaurants, I asked the restaurant manager one night, because I noticed at a certain time every night they would dim the lights in the restaurant. And I said, why is it you do that? What reason do you dim the lights? And he said, we have discovered that when you dim the lights, people buy more drinks. I thought, wow, that's amazing. The lighting actually affected the way people did things, and this is just in general. This isn't a conditioned group of people. This is something the restaurant industry discovered. I've discovered that your audience, when you dim the lights, reacts in a certain way. When you dim the lights, people's physiology drops, and they're not as alert. So do what you can to leave the lights on. If you're doing PowerPoint, I'd rather have them see the slides less than to have the room lights dimmed and have them see the slides more and then have their energy level drop. Another thing about lighting or fatigue is eye fatigue. If people have to stare at the same spot for too long, their eyes will become tired. It's a technique that I learned in hypnosis. If you want to put somebody in a trance, we usually ask them to look at a spot a little bit up, kind of at the edge of the ceiling behind me. And in this case, I might ask you to look up toward one of the trees and pick a spot in the tree and focus on that spot. And then what I do is you get the person to keep their eye on that for a certain amount of time, and then the hypnotist will tell you, and you feel your eyes becoming tired, your eyelids becoming heavier. It's just a little trick that we use to get people to feel like they're becoming sleepy. The reality is their eyes are becoming fatigued by staying in that one spot for so long. Their eyes become fatigued. So do what you can to get people's eyes moving. And that's possible even if you have to present at a podium, if you can't get away from a podium and walk around the room, even if they have to look at slides, turn the projector off occasionally. Put into your PowerPoint presentation blank screens where they're not going to be looking at it or distracted by it. Get their eyes to move back to you, then over to the screen, back to you, and you prevent eye fatigue by getting their eyes to move. And that's a very helpful way to keep people awake. So enjoy speaking to people, getting your safety points across, and keeping them wide awake and alert your entire meeting. Don't miss out. Be sure to hit the red button on the lower right and subscribe. That way, every time we release a video, you'll be aware of it.